Hi, this is Neil, and I'm here to talk about lessons learned and reflections on the Instructional Design 684 class project and a little bit about the whole course in general. One of the reasons that I took the 684 course is because my master's degree has been spread out over a long period of time. It's probably been 3 years now, and I've been able to take one course at a time, and it's slow, but it's steady, and I'm very close to being done. This is my third to last course. The reason why I took it is because I wanted to pull a lot of the skills together that I've learned over the years before I took my capstone project. I wanted to make sure I had some good command of the skills and the knowledge that are required for the capstone. I also wanted to have some practical application of the learning. Basically, similar to bullet number 2, I wanted to kind of get my hands dirty in some of the skills and requirements that would be there for the capstone project. And having the project assignment as sort of the culmination of 684 was a great way to accomplish these goals. So one of my initial thoughts on the project was, holy smokes, this is going to be a lot of work. It's going to take a lot of time. There are so many pieces to it, and I wasn't sure how I was going to get it all done. Not only that, but there was a second person added to it, my partner Josh, and there would be a lot of communication required with him if this project was going to be successful. On the plus side, I realized that the whole project could be a lot of fun because we chose the topic of photography, which is something that is near and dear to my heart and to Josh's as well. Because Josh and I both have an interest in photography, this enabled us to focus more on the how of the project, like how to put everything together, rather than on the what. We already knew the what. We already know a fair amount about photography, and that allowed us to be the subject matter experts on this project, rather than try to figure out, well, what is it that we need to know? We wanted to figure out how we were going to put it together so that it was understandable for users who might decide to take our very brief 3-lesson course. Josh was a great partner, and that was part and due to his personality, due to the fact that we were good collaborators. But really, I think it started with the agreement that we wrote at the very beginning. It was an effective tool. It clarified our expectations. It kept responsibilities clear, although it didn't spell them out specifically for the project. It let us know what the best way was for us to communicate and helped maintain that clear communication as well. And for the most part, we stuck to it. There were a few times where we didn't communicate as well as we wanted to, but we always came back around and were able to actually do everything that we needed to do in a fairly timely fashion. So in terms of the project, there were a number of things that worked really well for us. One was the division of labor. Basically, our project was 3 lessons long, and we each picked one of the lessons, and then the third lesson was something that we would collaborate on. It was something that would be started by the first person to finish their particular lesson, and then the other one would join in and help wrap things up on that third lesson. So that was a strategy that worked pretty well for us. In addition, as I mentioned before, we had a good topic. The photography topic worked very well for us. Third, part of the project that I thought was really good was choosing an LMS. The learning management systems that are out there are varied, and each of them have their own strengths, their own challenges, and I think going through the process of checking or testing the various learning management systems was a good exercise for us to do. Another part that was really good for the project was the peer review. Josh and I were working in a quasi-vacuum. Certainly we could give each other feedback on what was working, maybe what was not working, but ultimately by putting it out there for other people to look at and for other people to comment on, gave us good view onto what was working again and what wasn't working. In addition, The fact that we did our teaching week first, the teaching assignment before the project, gave us some tools and skills and some comfort level with working with learning management systems and working together as well. It was a smaller project, and it allowed us to familiarize ourselves with each other and with some of the materials that we were going to be working with. The proposals that we put together and the templates that we used for the proposals and other parts of the project were extremely handy, and I've already downloaded them so that I can use them in other projects and certainly in my capstone. Lastly, the fact that there were some exemplars for us to work with was also a very strategic tool, very handy tool for us to use. As far as challenges go, there were few, but a couple of them were pretty big. Keeping the scope small was a challenge, although Josh and I started with a limited scope and a small scope. There were still a lot of things that certainly I wanted to include in it. I'm sure Josh had the same thing happen. And there's no way that you can fit in everything that you want to fit into a project like that without going way over the top and confusing your learners. So keeping the scope small was a bit of a challenge. Certainly, as things got a little big and we decided to pare them down, deciding what to change and deciding what to give up was also a challenge. I found that I produced a video, probably a 2 or 3 minute video, maybe a little bit longer, that I really wanted to include in the project, and in the end, because it wasn't quite on target and we had already gotten rid of some related materials, I had to ditch that video, and ultimately the project came out better for that. And of course, the biggest challenge of all probably was life, my job, traveling for work. All those things take up a lot of time, have a lot of demands on our lives in general, and certainly it played a role in the project itself, but ultimately in the end, everything worked out really well. As far as the project itself goes, we used Moodle for our learning management system. It's a free and fairly sophisticated tool, and there's a whole bunch of bullet points on the slide that give you an idea of just a few of the things that Moodle can perform and do for you. And it's a great tool, and there's a very good chance that I will be using it for my final project, my capstone. This is the home page, the front page for our introductory photography course, and Moodle displays it well. It was a lot of fun to do the project, and I would be happy to do another project like that again, which of course I will be for one or both of my final 2 courses. And finally, I just wanted to go through and show you folks a few of my photos, since this was a photography course, and I'll just let those play through. I'm a big wildlife photographer, so you'll see that pretty much all of these photos are of wildlife, mostly birds. I've taken pictures down in Florida, I've taken pictures in Peru, I've taken pictures all over the world. Again, mostly of birds, but any kind of wildlife does. Here's a local shot in Quincy, Massachusetts, Truro, Massachusetts, and right in the Blue Hills in Canton, Massachusetts. So I hope you enjoyed the presentation. For those of you who get to see the course, I hope you enjoy the course too. And thanks for listening.